What if everything you've been told about success is wrong? Welcome to Successful AF, the podcast for women who've checked all the boxes but still feel empty inside. You know the story: perfect CV, impressive job title, great salary. Everyone thinks you've got it all figured out. But behind closed doors, you're working yourself into the ground and wondering why success feels so completely exhausting whilst fantasizing about opening a jam shop in the country. Or perhaps that's just me. I'm Jess West, and I've been exactly where you are. Corporate climber by day, anxious mess by night, until I realised the game was rigged from the start. Each week on Successful AF, we're rewriting the rules. No more grinding until you break, no more pretending perfectionism is a superpower, no more building your worth on other people's scorecards. We'll hear from women who've cracked the code, the one who set actual boundaries that stick, and learn to succeed without sacrificing their sanity. This isn't your typical lean in and work harder advice. This is about dismantling the achievement trap and building something better. Because here's the truth: you can be successful without being miserable. You can be ambitious without being anxious. And you can finally stop feeling like a fraud in your own life. Ready to get successful AF? Hit subscribe and let's burn down the old playbook together. So today I am joined by someone who I have been inspired by for a very long time. I'm really, really excited about this episode because not only is she the most incredible photographer, videographer, hype woman, friend, she's also my sister. So welcome, Lily.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, welcome. Lil, obviously I know your story from like a familial side, but I'm really interested to hear it from your perspective. So I'm not even going to give you any preamble, just tell us your story.
Amazing. Thank you so much. My story. So, I'd always been a very creative younger child, not really into academia at all, kind of hated it and hated the school academic side of things a lot. And then I really always enjoyed art, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do as a living. I was like, oh, I want to be an artist. But then I was like, I can't really draw that well, and I'm not good as the people next to me. What do I do? Anyway, and then I went to college, and then I wanted to do something creative, and then it was a really, really tiny studio, but I made it work and started doing photography, and I really enjoyed it. And then I started doing that, and then I went to uni and did fashion photography at uni, and I really enjoyed it, but I was technically not as gifted. Creatively, I gifted. Technically, I really struggled. And then I was like, this is difficult to be like a successful photographer and not be technical is quite an issue. And then everyone next to me was so technical. So that I was a bit like spiraling out about that at uni. But then I realized you didn't have to, if you're a successful photographer, you can just have an assistant that does it for you. And I was like, whoa, revolutionary. And then everyone kind of like was obviously I wanted to make money, so I was a waitress for ages. And then like I was getting suggested to kind of work in offices and do that to make the monies, but I couldn't do it because mentally didn't have anything in me to do that. I felt like I wouldn't be good at it. I felt like I didn't have the attention span for it. I just really didn't want to do it. So then I was still just being a waitress, but then doing loads of like self-portrait funny stuff on my Instagram shoots, but like paying quite a lot for film, and like it wasn't really getting anywhere, and I was doing it for like years. And then I was like, this is quite interesting. I really don't know where I'm gonna end up, but I still was like continuing to just do it because I thought if I'm doing it loads, then hopefully someone will like it. And then I wanted to always be a music photographer, but like more so work with a musician and do their shoots and then also follow them around, but less so like just gig stuff. And then I got approached by a musician's manager, and then they were like, do you want to do a shoot? And I was like, cool. And then they were like, how do you feel about doing their social media? And I was like, I don't know, because I've never done that before. And back then, 3 years ago, social media on like TikTok stuff wasn't that creative. It was like quite just like dances and like people just talking to the camera. And now it feels like it's way more like inviting for like artists and like actually has a place there. It does well, like art does well there. and before it didn't. So that was interesting, coming into that and trying being artistic and creative with it. Anyway, and then worked with the artists. It went really well, and we found their thing and their flow with it, and showcased their amazing voice and like their vision. And then through that, got approached by the people, management and record companies, and then started filming other people. And it was amazing because even those people talk a lot of rubbish about social media and it can be the worst thing ever, it really did give me a paid job in creativity, which I'm so blessed for. And yeah, and so I've just been doing that. And through the success of this artist, I've been working with other artists, and I have an agency with my best friend who is just great, and we work so well together, and we film everything together. We know each other since we were 14, and we go, and now I'm in Europe filming for an artist, and it's really great. And now we did then her single artwork, which is great because it came from literally just doing like social media posting on iPhone to like now being able to do on video cameras. And I always remember when I used to try and like assist people or go into big music video setups, I was like, oh my gosh, that looks so terrifying. And it was just men with big cameras, and I was like, I don't. And now it's just really fun that we managed to do it in our way with our cameras and no one else, and just editing it and then doing the stuff. So yeah, that's my story, I guess.
I think, firstly, it's amazing. And I think what we should just talk about briefly is like how long you carried on. I think it can be really easy when something isn't taking off to be like, right, I've tried this now. But like you consistently showed up for years. And, obviously, I've got the benefit of having seen you hustle and like really like you reached out to people constantly, you got knocked back, or like you'd arrange shoots and people wouldn't turn up and
Mm.
all of this. And you just never, ever, ever gave up.
That's so nice. I love that so much. Yeah, I guess that was what it, because I just felt like that was my passion of, and I felt like not my purpose in life, because that always used to spun me out, and I like thinking of my purpose, but like that was my thing. And I just felt like I wanted to keep doing that and get paid for that. And I realized that it was either that or waitressing. And I was like, no, no, no. I like I
Nothing wrong
can't
with
do it.
waitressing.
Nothing,
We're not shading.
nothing
We're
wrong
not
with
shading waitressing.
waitressing. But for me and waitressing, I'm clumsy. I can't do it. I think I'm undiagnosed dyspraxia. Can't hold plates. Dropped the plates all over someone once, and he went, "You should do better." And I thought, you know what? I should, and I can't do this anymore.
you, where do you think you got that level of self-belief from? Just that because you never wavered. You were like, this is gonna happen. Like it wasn't
It's
like oh, it's too hard. It was just like, yeah, obviously, like, were you looking at other people doing it, thinking, oh, I can be like them, or were you just like, no, like I'm gonna create this? Because you said you're doing things quite differently to other people in the industry, and you and your best mate, and you do it with your cameras, you do it your way. What was driving you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's actually really refreshing your perspective on my like resilience with it, because I obviously when you're inside it, you don't really see it like that. And I guess I always thought myself as being quite hard on myself, and like also knowing that technicality and like business savvy wise I wasn't really there. So I also was a bit like, it looks like I had loads of faith in myself, but I also kind of didn't. But I just had to keep going because I didn't know another option. And I also just knew that in an ideal world, that would be what I would do. So I just had to keep doing it. I don't know. I think like mum and dad were always really just like, do whatever makes you happy, and very supportive. And like, I think having that, and they didn't really question it, definitely helped the resilience of just to keep going. But also, I think it just came from within.
Love that for you.
But like, because I didn't know what else to do, I was like, I'm just gonna have to keep going. But I think genuinely, yeah, the financial stuff was really difficult, because it's all well and good saying come from within, but if like, obviously, Jess was the best person in the world, because I was able to come from Devon and be a waitress, and she believed in me so much. And you believe in me so much, and stayed with you and let me stay in your place for free for a while. And I literally had no money, and I'd just be trying and trying to do shoots for free and spending so much money on film. It get like 60 likes, and that would be like, oh cool. And like magazines wouldn't pay me, they'd just be like, this is exposure. And then I'd work in a market and like earn like minimum wage. That was after a while, because Jess was just like, no, just keep looking, like just keep like, you know, just like. And it wasn't really, I wasn't getting any job opportunities from it, so I was just doing catering and just like really random jobs and working in a market for ages, selling clothes with a rubbish boss. And then yeah, it kind of just like, you definitely gave me that resilience as well, and have really helped me just like stay at it. And I think I just had good people around me, and it really is underrated how massive deal that is. Because if everyone was just a bit like, oh, just get on with it, like you need to just do something now, as much as maybe there was a comment here and there around me, people would say that, not really. So I was really thankful for that.
Oh, she's gone. She's back.
Drop the mic.
That's it. Mic drop. We're done now. That's it. Podcast over.
Bye.
I love that. I really, no, I think there's some really, really important lessons there. And I think just like continuing to show it, continuing to graft, but also the importance of like having people around you who support you and believe in you,
Yeah,
is somewhat underrated sometimes.
yeah, definitely. And
Um,
before that, sorry, as well, before I did get like asked by this artist manager, I was doing tours before that with an artist that I was really excited about for like not much money at all, and then just like doing working at the market and stuff to give me the money. So it's just about like to continue doing it, and everyone else thinks that is your job, but it's not actually your job for ages. It's just kind of, as in like, you're not your paid job, so you're just kind of like making it look like that, and then it's like feels more natural and seamless to the people that are asking you to do work for them, because they think you're already doing it properly. So you just, it's an
yeah,
illusion.
I do think you are a master manifester. Like you are one of the most magic people I know. Like you're like fucking pull money out of a hat. Like, oh, I need some. Oh, here it is. Like, I do think like
I love that. You taught me manifesting.
we're all still on a journey with that.
I know, I'd write that in my diary all the time. I'm going to work with a musician. I'm going to get paid from my art. I'm going to get paid from my art. Do you remember we wrote those things? It was
Yeah.
literally that. That is so crazy, actually. You sat me down when I was having a midlife crisis, a 20-year-old life crisis, and you were like, let's write down your goals. And what were they called? What do you call it? The
Goal?
thing that you do? Oh, was it goals?
Well, it like
The
manifestations.
workshop that we did. Yeah, it was just like the writing down and the like, was that
We did
called?
it. We did a Megan Rose Lane workshop, didn't we?
Yeah, that was really good.
Shout out to Megan Rose
Um,
Lane.
Shout out to Megan Rose Lane. But yeah,
Okay. Tell us what success means to you.
very good question, Jessica.
Thanks.
That's a very good question, because there is material success, obviously, and I know that's a very textbook answer, but obviously that is a part of what we all, well, what I feel is success, like money, money in abundance, and like a nice house and things to be able to have, and like not even just like just money security. I feel like is success to me quite a bit, actually. But success, I think, is like, to me, is being recognized for what you do, being appreciated for what you do. And I guess I have maybe a bit too, I love validation. So I do love when people are like, oh, I love this work you did, da, 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 da. And I think it's just the happiness of creating and then getting paid for it and then getting recognized for it. In what I do, to me, that feels successful. And the money and abundance thing is a thing for me as well. And that coinciding together. But also, that's as a career thing, successful in life is happiness, family, support, love, just like being happy with what you do, what, no matter that's success or just family, or like how you treat people and how you're treated.
You really brought it back around there, like because you went in on the success and it was really
I
great.
did. I know.
And then you went, and it was almost like Miss World moment when you were like, and world peace and happy dogs.
Oh my God, it was. No, I'm so embarrassed. It's because I was like, God, like I need to give it all well-rounded answer. I don't want to just be like, yeah, success is money in abundance.
Okay, great. There we go.
So, but no, but then no, because I want to be like, but also success is being like, whoa, look at my family. Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah, Miss World. LDGLD.
World peace.
World peace, honey. Yeah. What's success to you?
No, I'm asking the
Right,
question.
sorry. We'll ask you after this.
Has your definition of success changed throughout your career?
I don't know actually, because I always was looking to be successful in my career and never really felt it until it grew. And I still don't, I feel it because obviously, like single artwork or like shooting and stuff and it getting to places more and it being like on a billboard, that to me feels like a massive creative success, which is amazing. But I guess I was always looking to that in a career. And I wouldn't say 2 years ago, I would maybe be like, I am successful in my career, even though I was.
I think is it. I mean,
It's like the hierarchies, isn't it, of
yeah,
like success?
I've actually, I think it's here, right? Oh my gosh, I've actually got it right here.
Oh, look at that. That's what I made earlier. Oh,
So this was Lily's first ever magazine cover
oh my
that
God, that's so funny. I almost
got
forgot about her.
published in, I don't even know when it was.
2022,
Yeah, but like, was that not success at the time?
20. Yeah, you're so right. You're so right, actually. I think
Not that I
at
came
the
with visual
time,
aids today. We can't do this with all of our guests. I'm sorry.
I know. Look at you go. I love that so much. No, you're right. And that was when I moved to London. I had no money, and you were the most amazing person ever. And we lived together, and I literally was just like doing these like magazine things, and it was like so exciting. But I wasn't getting like
You
it
didn't pay for
wasn't.
it, did you?
I did, but like minimum,
Yeah.
like £300.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't live off that, and it was so great and exciting. And I guess moments like that pushed me forward as well, because I thought if I do keep doing this, that people do get paid the big monies if they keep doing it. But
Yeah.
it's like whether it's financially, if whether I'm financially able to keep doing it was the question. But yeah, so I guess answer to your question, the success has changed along the way, the values of it and what is, I don't know, I guess, yeah, like the last 5 years I've maybe always been like, oh, successful, but always had bigger ambitions and things. Classic, as like a load of other people, they compare something they did 5 years ago and be like, oh, that thing, but at the time you're so excited about it and it's such a big thing.
I think there's that classic thing of we very rarely look back to see how far we've come. And like I feel like I'm seeing this all the time at the moment, which is clearly one of those like I often like when I see stuff all the time, I'm like, okay, universe, I hear you. But it's like I keep seeing this like, oh, don't forget that a year ago or 10 years ago or whatever, everything you wanted is now everything that you have. And it can be really easy to get stuck into that
Yeah.
cycle of, oh, well, like, but other people my age are, like, for me, it's other people my age are married, other people my age have got kids, and like those things, like, I'm sure they're on the horizon for me, but they're not like, whatever. But actually, for me,
Hmm.
it's about building my coaching business and like seeing that take off, and then like then building wealth from that, and then, creating my future, or rather, my and my partner's future, so like that kind of thing. But it's always that we're always looking ahead. And actually, like
Yeah.
5 years ago, I what was I doing 5 years ago? I don't know. I think we were living together 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I know it was COVID, and it was like
Oh my gosh.
stuck in the house, and like, and actually my good at that time was like that none of my family were going to die from COVID. And so,
Yeah.
it's that like, oh my God, now, and we've kind of come back around to world peace a little bit here, but like it's
Yeah, it's so easy to
yeah.
forget.
Yeah.
It's if you were to ask yourself, like you were saying, like 5 years ago, like if you were to show yourself 5 years ago what you're doing now and what you've achieved and what you're like putting together and like all of this, and it's actually incredible, and it's stuff that you 5 years ago would be like,
Well, I mean, 5 years
yeah,
fetus, but yeah, sure.
you 5 years ago.
No, 5 years ago you were still a fetus.
I'm talking about you. No, 5 years ago, we were living together.
I know, but you were still like a babe. I mean, you're still a
I
baby. There are
know
10 years between Lily and I, so yeah,
there are.
yeah,
I'm 26, about to be 27.
there you go. Well, thanks for telling everyone how old I am.
Sorry.
Great. Um, let's move on, shall we? What
Yeah,
barriers or challenges have you had to overcome?
loads. I think self-worth challenges for sure. When you're freelance and like you said, the kind of like consistently trying and keep going, and like even though you're not getting paid, just have that faith that it's going to happen. I think I kind of forget how mentally challenging that actually was. And like I think that was a massive mental challenge, like not having money, having you to pick me up, and that was literally amazing. Like I'm so thankful for that. Not to keep going back to that, but that was incredible because I was able to move to London and do that. But it was so challenging because I felt bad and then didn't have enough money and da 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 da. So that was a challenge. And then finally that was good. And then we were living together for longer and then moved out. And then like financially it was more successful, da da da. But then I guess like the work, there's like deadlines and pressure and stress and you're moving around a lot. There's not loads of like routine. And so therefore mentally that can sometimes be difficult, but it's like amazing. It's so so good. But I think also just as a human being, my challenges that I experience is more so to do with like mental health challenges, experiences of anxiety. Like I think like not like I just have feelings of anxiety quite a bit, and I think that's a big challenge. Sometimes I think I sort of had that like a good like maybe 4 years ago that came into play, and then I've just been like dealing with it, overcoming it, trying to go down in my sertraline, and like it's just really that was really difficult, and it still is. But I do feel like it was a nice challenge for me to like to kind of like know how to try and challenge it and deal with it when you're working and doing it consistently.
And like what, for anyone who is also struggling with anxiety, like other than obviously the medication, is there anything that you'd suggest or anything that you found really helps you? For
Mm.
everyone, so it might not be applicable, but
Yes, also going back to before when you said about your journey, quickly in there, the artist's way is literally incredible. Not doing a promo there, but going back to the journey situation, that definitely helped as well. I think that was such an important time that you showed me that, because doing that, filling that out, I think that gave me that mindset as well, because it's just a really good question of like how I was so just like cold with sticking in it. It was that whole thing of believing that, having the faith to create these things, you have faith in it and that faith alone is good enough, and then you put that up and that's good enough, and then you keep going, and it's like not to second guess it. And I've told my friends about it and they've really like enjoyed it, and they feel like it's really nice having those conversations with people that you care about, because it's like this new mindset thing, and it's basically, the artist say, was like a therapy around losing your creativity. And I think as for me, having that as a career is crazy, because I didn't have that as a career before I read it, and that's quite cool that having that faith gave that. But anyway, going back,
that's Julia Cameron. We will link the book in the notes.
thanks Juju. Where were we? What was I saying?
You were talking about overcoming your challenges, and I asked,
Yes.
like, what, from the mental health perspective, what would you
Sorry.
say, you've really has really helped, or if
the,
there
re-
has been anything that's really helped?
the reason why I brought that up is because of journaling, and like Julia Cameron, and it says like journal 3 times 3 pages a day, and you told me to do that, and it literally changed my life. Definitely 100%, especially when I was like really struggling mentally, just to do that in the morning and just get out 3 pages of just rubbish most of the time, and just like to process what you're feeling, because most of the time with my anxiety, it's just, I like anxiety in general, it's just like funk that you haven't really resolved, you don't really know what's going on, and it's just like words that are just like in clusters, and that really helped me. And I think when I was really struggling mentally, that was great. I don't do it as often anymore, but I should, and I do sometimes. And then therapy helped a lot, coming to terms with how I can be in certain situations when I am feeling more anxious, what I'm saying to myself, my like mental dialogue of just like also like looking at a situation wrong, reading it wrong, and therefore spiraling and convinced that like everyone is annoyed at me or upset with me, or like my people pleasing mentality is just wild. And I think knowing that it's not always the case, that whole thing, how you read a situation, just having that faith that like you're great and people are friends with you because you're you, and that's all you need to know. And if you're having a moment of just like not being the center of the room, da da da, that's fine. You can just be, you can have that time to yourself, and da da da. I think this is a big challenge for me sometimes when I really experience like social anxiety. Is like, how do I deal with it? But I think it's just more so because it's so funny, like no one really notices that I experience it. But like it's so funny to me because it's like I feel like I'm being so weird or odd, but actually I sometimes I think I do go into myself sometimes, and then I kind of resent that when I go into myself and go quiet because I like being an extrovert, but actually I am an introvert massively a lot, and it's okay that that's the case because they know what you're like when you're an extrovert. You can also be an introvert.
Yeah, I think that's right. And also, man, extrovert, introvert.
We're a bit of everything.
On the journaling, for me, journaling is like, when you make an amazing mint. I don't eat meat anymore, but like when I used to, she's trying to open her bottle top, right? She loses an eye. Like, I don't really eat meat anymore, but like when I used to make a mince and then you'd like cook it and then you leave it overnight. Oh, she's done it. Oh, she's got the bottle top off. Congrats. Congrats.
Yeah, mint overnight, really good. Like this analogy a lot.
Yeah, and then you like leave it to cool and then all the fat like comes on the top. And for me, you can now hate your apple juice. It's gross.
No, I love it. I'm just loving your analogy about the fat on the top.
This is chaos. Yeah, so then you like scoop all the orange crap
Mm,
off the top. And that to me is what journaling is. It's like just getting, it's almost like,
so good.
in the olden days when they used to like put leeches on you to get rid of the dirty blood. It's that kind of thing. You don't like that analogy as much, no?
I hate that. I hate leeches, and I hate that they do that. But it's a good analogy. I've just been kind of thinking about them recently. It's funny you've been bringing them up.
What, leeches?
Um, yeah, I don't know. They were in Stranger Things, and like
Oh, right, okay.
horrific. No, but good analogy. That mince one, I'm going to use that. That's so good. That's the best thing you've ever said. Joking. Said lots of better things in that.
Thanks.
But it's blown my mind.
Anyway, back to
Uh,
you.
mm.
What?
I also have dyslexia, and I think in school that was really difficult, and dyscalculia. So anything basically to do with like words and numbers in school is just a lot of words and numbers. And I think school really, really, really makes you think, especially then, that like being academic is kind of the be all and end all. That's
Yeah.
how I felt. That was my personal experience. I would try and I would revise and I would really try and focus, but it was always like, oh, you're not listening, like you're not focusing enough. Like it was kind of like, oh, I'm in the bottom set of English, or I'm in the bottom set of maths, and that I think mentally put me in this place of like being now insecure that like I'm like dumb, or not as like silly word, but like and that definitely still has a part to play now, where I feel like I'm like not enough smart, or da da da, not enough smart, and not enough smart. So basically, yeah, and I think that was a massive challenge in school, trying to prove to people that I was revising, I was intelligent, but what you're trying to judge me on are the things that are my weaknesses.
Yeah.
That's not my thing. They're not my things. But in school, they're not really gonna like look at your photography skills or your people skills as much as everything else. And so I was judging myself on what everyone else was judging me on and what the standards were at school. And obviously I was a bit like, God, yeah, like I'm not quite like smart enough, and I can't do the things that we're meant to be doing. And then so that was like a really big challenge. And then I think coming to college and uni was so liberating for me, because it was like finally 18 years later, I actually feel like I have a place and a space where I can like be rewarded for like what I do, and like what I can fit into something, even though still like in the technical side of photography and being around people that were really good at it, well, I was still a bit like, but so much better than being in like maths and just like it just going over me. Like I was so bad at maths, everyone, so bad. An E 4 times, maybe 5, and it's fine. Look at where we are now.
Exactly.
Brussels.
No, you're in Hamburg.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I'm in Hamburg. I was in Brussels yesterday.
How do you run a business with the with the numbers? Sorry, I'm not negging you.
No, I know you're not, but literally, we need to get my accountant, which also sounds hilarious, but the accountant that I use to be in this as well, and she would be like, don't know, don't know how she does it, don't know. Basically, it's just about having that like
We have an
such a
accountant. Maybe that's the answer. Like you bring,
yeah,
like you were saying earlier, right? Like,
bring the goods.
yeah, like you said, what did you say? Like you don't need to be the most technically advanced photographer because you can bring in an assistant, and so
Yeah,
you bring in the accountant for the stuff. But I think that's the case with everyone. Like for anything we can't do, we can plug the gaps with people who can do, and that's how this whole society thing works.
definitely, exactly, and that's so important because like if you have a weakness, you should collaborate with someone who is has a strength, and then you can just power through it together. Like my business partner and best friend had a business degree. She still struggles, but she's amazing with the organization, the making everything look like so neat and together and really particular, but so good at that. And that's like the best thing ever because I can be a bit slapdash sometimes. And so having the both, but then I'm quite quick at it. So having the both of us where I can be quick turnaround and then having Ellie, even though sometimes I'm bad with Christians and be like, oh yeah, the colours are a bit funky on that one, even though I'm like, yeah, to be fair, they're all different. Like yesterday, I had to.
Right, hang on. You said I'm bad with criticism. I really thought you said I'm bad with Kristen, and I was like, who the hell is?
Kristen.
There was a lot of fast words there.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Sorry, criticism. I'm bad with criticism, and so, but working in a business and having a business partner that's also your best friend is also hard because you're just like, what do you mean? But you have to hear the criticism all the time because that's how you get better and that's how you grow. And I think that's been a massive challenge for me as in a career is like hearing criticism quite a lot, and then just being like, okay, cool, that's what I need to take on. Let's do it better. So yeah, I think having the both of us. Obviously, I couldn't run a business by myself. Having her is amazing. Having the accountant is amazing. And then employing other people to help us with certain projects. And it just, yeah, it's great.
Great. Thanks. Yeah. Tick, tick,
Yeah.
tick. That's how we overcome. Done. Another mic drop. Um, what advice would you give to your younger self? I mean, we know you're a baby, but like your baby self.
You're great the way you are. And continue to explore and be your childlike self and continue to be happy. Continue to play, play in life and play around and really try so desperately to cling on to that and not let say if you come into a room really happy and not let like everything or anyone just like shrink you to a little snail. And I think just like to continue going, and it's fine that you're not gonna get paid initially for stuff. It will all work out, and you like people will like you for you, and you don't need to question yourself all the time because you're in this position for a reason. You've got the people around you for a reason, and you just need to rock on with it and continue going because they're not going to drop you the drop of a hat because you've worked your way to get here, and you deserve to be here.
Yeah. You do deserve to be there. I think it's really valid advice. And I think it's really easy to hear and it's really hard to internalize. But I,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
is.
what you said that just keep going, just
Yeah,
keep going. If you really believe that what you have to offer is valuable, then
yeah.
it will go. It's just
Hmm.
time.
Exactly, and it's just that thing of like if you just think about when we were kids, how amazing
You and I were
and
children at different in different eras. We are.
yeah. I'm saying individually in our kid-like states. Okay, okay. So if you remember being children, and it's just like wow, like I know that, but like we were just so creative and lovely and funny and just nice to everyone, and then life shapes you a bit and then you get a bit scuffed around the edges, and obviously we're still lovely, nice wonderful human beings, but like it's funny that your beliefs get a bit tainted along the way, and then you have to sometimes check yourself. And that's why sometimes like therapy and journaling and all of that is so important, because when like, say, whatever you've adapted along the way, and with me it's like anxiety, it's like, just know that that wasn't there before because you just didn't care. You
Yeah.
just were happy, and you didn't care if someone wasn't happy. You didn't, obviously, if someone was shouting at you, it's scary, but like in the scheme of things, just playing, you just do it. And I know that that's a generic thing to, like, to talk about and like your childlike self or whatever, but I don't know. That's when you asked me that question. I was like imagining me as a young person, just being like, hearing that from an older me is so important. It would have been so important because it's just like, but that's what you were there for me for that, which was amazing, because you were kind of like an older me in a way, kind of give me that advice that you'd experienced a little bit along the way and then give that to me. But when you weren't there and da da da, and when you get in your head, you just sometimes have to like really try and give yourself the pep talks. But in the moment, it's so hard because your brain's just like struggling, and you don't really know like what your thoughts are doing, but you're just feeling a bit rubbish. But it's nice in hindsight to have these conversations and remember all of that, and that like we were just like sweet little individuals that just wanted the best for everyone and ourselves. And then it just gets harder when you grow up.
I love that you get scuffed around the edges as you get older. I
Do
really
you?
think it's really nice. I mean,
I
sometimes
like that.
no one wants to get scuffed, but I just think that
I know.
it's like an old pair of trainers.
Yeah, that's nice because it also. But then I was like, God, is that also like a bit depressing that we're scuffed now?
You can polish out the scuffing.
You're right, and the scuffing also adds.
Yeah, adds texture and interest. Like it's the
Yeah,
stories. I was talking to my coach, and she was saying that these are your stories. Like these are your gold. Because if you don't have your stories, what you're just like some flat piece of paper. She didn't say that. Those are my words. I think actually like those bumps in the road are what gives us texture, what like shapes us, and actually teaches us so many lessons. So I don't mind the scuffs.
you're right. And also, if we stayed our childlike selves in a way of like actually not caring about anyone else, can be
Yeah.
a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
So in a
I think
way,
it's challenging.
yeah, and the slight social anxiety is a good thing, maybe, because it's like, to an extent, but it's like the thing of just being like conscious of like
Not a
people.
dick.
Yeah. And like, yeah, exactly. Like gauging, like reading the room. So yeah, we love our scuffs.
Just curious, and I know I've not told you I'm going to ask you this question beforehand, so surprise.
Ask away, I love it.
What do you think is your biggest career highlight to date?
I think it would be doing the single cover.
You need to explain what that is though, because
Or so I shot um Gorgeous Lola, young musician, and I I've worked with her for a long time, but we finally got to a point where I shot her single cover, and basically we did a shoot and it went on the cover of her new single and in a studio. It just felt so reassuring for me as an individual and as a creative that I could do that, and to know that I could do that, because obviously I shame myself sometimes about my technicality, da da da, like lighting, da da da. And an amazing assistant that helped me, and Ellie obviously, and we did it all together, and it just felt amazing that we did that. And I think to have our work on a billboard
in time.
and in New York, in Times Square, and like be on Spotify and be on other billboards in London, and that I think is amazing for me. And that isn't a light thing. And that's something I've like tried to manifest on like 11/11s, and it came true. And that feels like a massive deal. And that happened recently, so it's very easy to just say something that's happened, but that feels like definitely the biggest thing that has happened.
Especially when like back in the day, I remember you like paying for studio space and like not begging, but like, desperately trying to find models and like getting people to
Hmm.
ship you clothing and stuff. And now like you get paid to do this shit.
Yeah, which is amazing.
That's cool.
Really cool. And then other creators are like asking us questions and coming to us, and like agencies are coming to us, and like I'm just so thankful for Miss Lola as well, to like obviously to just be in that position, also be like best friends with that individual, and also just her be so creative and put us on the map like that is so amazing. Like, I don't know, I just feel like it's just so blessed.
There has to be a lot of trust there, doesn't there?
Definitely. Oh my God, massively. Like I literally came into it and like was like, oh, do you want to wear a skirt over trousers? And she was like, what? And then like kind of like trusted that like I was just like we were just playing around and like I was just wearing things and she was like kind of into it and then we just did that together and then would do silly videos together and then she'd see it afterwards and be like, oh, I like it. So yeah, and I think it's like a level of respect that you both have for each other and what they do and you just want to like create with them and that's really nice and special. So very thankful for that.
Yeah, I know. I think there's like a big theme that you kind of brought up a few times, and it's just about the importance of play. And that's not to be like,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's not serious, that doesn't mean it's not genuine, but I think being able to bring that level of play is something that's really unique. And I think, you kind of talked about it with the artist way, it goes away quite
Oh yeah.
quickly. And to be able to hold on to that is
Yeah.
pretty special, actually.
Yeah, it was just like just draw, who cares? Post it, do it, put it up, whatever, have an exhibition, da 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 da. It's just like that thing. I think we get so along the way in years, just be like, well, it's not perfect, it's not perfect, and like compare, compare, compare. But it's like actually, who cares? If you think that everything has to be perfect, you're never going to release anything ever, and no one would,
No,
because
exactly.
normally everyone like all the creatives hate the stuff they do, but people love it, and that's what keeps them going.
And nothing's perfect, and I think
No.
like we could, I won't get sidetracked here, but this is my thing about AI, because AI technically is perfect, and I think that's why
Yeah.
I
Odd.
find like, and like I'm not like, no shame, like I've used AI, I use it a lot, like it's really helped me build my business because I don't have time to create an entire website by myself. I have a full-time job on top of running the business, but
Yeah.
I
Shout out
absolutely
ChatGPT.
no, I use Claude AI.
Oh, yeah, give me that details.
Right.
That details.
Should definitely check the ethics of that before talking about this on here. But also, like we do know that it's like very bad for the environment. Lots of water. Try not to use it too much. Good. Yeah.
The AI.
Yeah, it uses 10 times more water to do a
Water.
search than a Google search because you have to cool all of the stuff. I said stuff, don't know right, we don't have time for this.
No, we don't. We absolutely don't.
Yeah,
That fries my
basically,
brain thinking
basically
about
what I was going
water
to
and
say
Google.
is like I think there's what were we saying? Oh my God, my brain. What? Playing? Were we talking about playing?
Thing.
Playing. Yeah, so like you don't get to play with chat. Well, you can play with chat.
Mm,
Like it's there's like not that level of joie de vivre
freedom.
that you
Yeah.
get because it
You
like
can't get it wrong.
I like mistakes. I like it when I
Yeah.
misspelt something because I'm like, oh, they actually wrote that themselves. That's great. Congrats.
Gosh. I, I think I misspelled every single word.
It's not
Obviously, I don't now that Google and the mail is on my side because it does the red thing and everything sorted out. But yeah, you're right. It shows that, you're not perfect. It's nice, it's endearing. And the art that is playful is the best. You don't need to draw your uncle word for word precise and like A1. It can be off, and like that's the beauty. That's why I like caricatures and paintings. It's just everything just adds personality and depth. And I don't know, obviously we know this, but it's good to talk about it because you're sometimes like you get so critical of your own art.
what is your weird? I'm trying to thank you. She's doing a little dance for anyone listening. What is it that like makes you unique? I think you've talked about a lot of it. It's about the play, it's about like sort of doing, but like actually what I really want to know is what is the weirdest thing you've ever done? And I will tell you my story, what you think about this. So
That's amazing.
this is one of the weirdest things I've ever done. When I was at university, my best friend like had this thing called, we used to call it the crazy train, where we just like completely fucking lose our minds for like a couple of hours. And like we weren't tripping, like it was just like, we were just I think there's a lot of stress. It was final year. And one day we just decided to send an envelope full of glitter to this boy's house who was on our course. We didn't know him that well. I don't know how we got his home address. And we just sent him an envelope full of glitter with literally no explanation. We didn't say who it was from. He obviously knew it was us because I think we'd asked for his address and he was just like, "Did you two send me an envelope full of glitter?" And he said everywhere. Like it was in his like his mom was like hoovering it up for the next like 6.
Oh my
And I missed that version of myself. I'm like, oh, I got an envelope full of glitter recently. God damn it. A new one.
Yes, the playfulness. That's the best thing
Yeah.
ever. I don't think you've ever told me that. Did you send it to his mum's house or his uni house?
So his like parents' house.
Oh my God, that's so good. Can you imagine? He'd rip it open and it will fall out everywhere.
It was like stuffed full of glitter. Anyway, so yeah, that was one of the weirdest things I've ever done.
That's so good. I know, because I was really like, oh, good one. Because I do feel like you and me both, we're weird.
Yeah,
We're
we are.
great, weird individuals, very weird. So it's hard to pick out one weird um, activity. But I would say when I had an alter ego at uni called Ducky the Diva,
Okay.
I would dress up in a velour tracksuit and put my hair in a high ponytail, do terrible blush. I got a karaoke machine, like a really, really bad one with a mic, like a kid's one, and I would just sing really, really bad covers of Whitney Houston. I always love you, and film myself and put it on YouTube and call it Duck the Diva. And I'd say, "Hi, loved ones." Bear in mind, no one obviously followed me. I was like no one would even see it. Like, how are we today, my ducks? I'd be like, "Duh-duh," and I've been talking, and like Chico, like X Factor, all of those people, they were my role models for things like this. Like not even Chico, like the people on X Factor that just would just
Give it.
fully believe that they were incredible, as they should. And so I was singing like really, really bad and like screamy, like, and I would then, because of the mic, it would echo everything I was saying, and I was trying to edit it a little bit. I'm singing it anyway, and then I'd put it up, and I had an Instagram account, and I would do hashtags, and I'd follow other people that I thought that was similar. This guy called Buffy Carell, who was very similar to me, and I used to comment on his things, being like, "You're the love of my life, be my boyfriend." It was like this random man from like Philadelphia who did the same thing, but he definitely was doing an alter ego thing. I mean, his was like a comedy thing, and I would just like, and then people would follow me like, "What's this? Da 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 F word, da 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 S word," and it was hilarious. And then I did it at uni, so I bought it into. I did my final project that gave me a 2-1 on Ducky the Diva, and I bought into uni, and I did a big screen of me dancing. Oh yeah, I green screened me dancing in Parliament, singing
I do remember this. I've
singing
forgotten this.
Peaches. Yeah, the Peaches song, and it was like sucking on my titties like you wanted me, calling me, and I was actually in a velour tracksuit, and yeah, it was the best thing ever. I think I actually sent people it as well, like designers and stuff. Yeah, but like fashion people, because I kind of thought. Anyway, hilarious. And yeah, and then me and my flatmate, she was called Phil something. I think she made her name like Phil something, and we'd like be like in like a couple and dance together on the hills. And yeah, I was going to do a massive performance in a pub, and then Corona hit. Um, but yeah, that was quite odd.
Oh my God.
Uni was literally Play Central. That was the best thing ever, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, really was good for that.
Yeah.
Like did bingo, hosted a bingo night and dressed up as an old woman, and everyone had to dress up as old women and men, and we were all like 20, and like called out the bingo cards, like we all like tanned ourselves orange for it, and then gave away like a pickled pigeon as the first prize.
Oh my God, you guys stop. The pigeon was already dead though, right? You didn't kill it.
Yeah, no, my flatmate, gorgeous flatmate, had a pickled pigeon that was dead on the road, and she pickled it, and then we had it as our ornament in the middle of our table at uni. So play away.
And I think that's probably a good place to end on the pickled pigeon.
You should call this. You should call this the Pickled Pigeon podcast.
Yeah, Ducky the Diva and the pickled pigeon.
Pretty good.
Thanks so much, Phil. I think we've all learned a lot there.
Thank you,
Thanks.
wonderful, gorgeous human being.
Thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening today, and thank you so much to Lily for being a part of this program. I obviously I've known Lily for a long time. I still learned so much from this, and it was a really interesting opportunity for me to step back and just listen to her story. So hopefully you were able to take loads from it too. What I really got was that it doesn't matter if school isn't right for you, and it's okay because there are so many other metrics of success out there. If you're not getting A's in maths, as in Lily's case, then you can still be a wild success regardless. I also took the importance of just continuing to believe in yourself. I loved Lily's single focus and her just constant, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make it happen. She obviously acknowledges that she had to have a lot of support through that. And she's really hustled on the side. And I think there's an awful lot to be learned there. When you know exactly what you want, you're just going to get it. If this conversation sparked something for you, I want to hear about it. Send me your thoughts, your questions, your holy shit, that's exactly what I'm going through moments. Whatever's on your mind. Drop me a line at successfulafpod@gmail.com. And here's the thing, I am always looking for incredible women to feature on this show. Women who've broken the mold, redefined success on their own terms, or just in the thick of that transformation right now. If that's you or someone you know, don't be shy. Nominate them or yourself at successfulafpod@gmail.com. Also, do me a solid and subscribe. Maybe even write me a review and send it on to your mates. Because the more stories we share, the more we prove that there's not just one way to be successful AF. Thank you and see you next week.